I think Thailand would make a great girls trip. And there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, the affordability. Like the flight is the most expensive part of your trip. Getting there is going to be the biggest challenge. Once you're there, everything else becomes so much more affordable. There are many, many times of the year where it's easy to find a great deal on resorts down by the beach. Hotels in Bangkok, they have essentially a year-round tourism because people come from different parts of the world at different times of the year. So they don't have one tourist season. They have tourism all year long. So like, for example, we were there were a lot of French and Russians there, and that's very normal for that time of year. Americans typically come in American summertime. So their tourism continues year round. So there's not really one season that you need to avoid or come for. The weather also is more consistent in that it's always hot. It's always warm. You are in the tropics. It is warm and humid. And they have more of like the wet and dry season than they do the hot and cold season like we do in America. So we were there in February. That's a great time of year to visit, in my opinion. Right after we left, the prices were going to go up because they were going to have the warmer, more like their summer was about to begin. So like their schools are about to let out, and they start getting more visitors from Asia. And then it ramps up until summer, and then more Americans are coming and more from Europe as well. So we were there at a really good time of year. But however, what's funny is I asked the lady at the front desk of the resort, like, when's your busy season? And she said December through February. So at the resort we were at, we were there the last busy week, essentially, of their busy season. And then it doesn't get busy again until summer for them. So that was really interesting to me, our summer, I should say. So that was really fascinating to me that she said it was really busy, and yet I still felt like it was very quiet and calm where we were. So definitely not overcrowded or uncomfortable in any way. So I think February would be a really nice time to visit. It's right before it gets super hot. To them, April is the warmest month. And so I feel like February is a good time to visit Thailand. For one of the best reasons to visit Thailand for a girls trip is not only the affordability, but how many fun things there are to do that I feel like women would really find appealing. For example, besides the beach resorts, which every girlfriend I have would love to come and join the beach resort lifestyle there. And so I think that's one of the main reasons why I know women would love to visit Thailand. But the other thing is the prevalence of the spa experience opportunities. And services are so much more affordable there. So everything that you fantasize about for spa day is going to be so affordable that you could do it more than once on your trip. For example, manicures and pedicures are more affordable. You can go and spend the entire afternoon at the spa. We did a big spa package right before we left and spent 5 hours doing a big spa afternoon, and basically give us everything. Give us your biggest package you've got. Let's see what that's like compared to just going for the Thai massage. And we still spent $120 for the big over the top, everything you've got, give it to us, 5 hours, and we spent $120.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I feel like if that's your idea of the perfect vacation, is that kind of pampering, this is the place to go, because you could do it every day. You could go every day and do something different. You could get it, just let yourself enjoy that entirely. Especially if you combine that with a really nice hotel or resort, you're just going to feel like you're living in luxury. That's a great, I think, reason for women to be interested in Thailand. The other experience experience that that I felt like was really great was the cooking school, the shopping for food in the marketplaces. Like the foodie experience was very immersive and sensual in that it's involving all of your senses. Like it's just really vibrant and interesting. So if you are a person who's interested in that, there's so much more opportunity for that. Like our friends were telling us about when I was saying like, this is what I would love to do more of. And they were like, oh, well, if we had really understood that, then we would take you to the coffee plantation that our friends showed us, and like where they will go and teach you everything. We could go and harvest pineapples together. We could go, like, there's all these really cool things you can do where you can go to like local farms and local businesses that are going to show you the processes behind the food that is really so fabulous there. So there's so much more you could do. And like I said, food tours, there were many, many food tours. Our friends were like, we want to show you all the food we love. And so we let them be our tour guides for food. But you absolutely could go on a different kind of food tour every night, basically. So there's lots of that if you're very, very much interested in like food and gourmet experiences. That's a whole opportunity. The other reason I feel like it would be a great destination for women for vacation is if you're interested in shopping at all, it is the most exciting way to go shopping I've ever experienced, because the markets are everywhere. Okay, first of all, like when you walk down any street, I mean, I'm going to venture and say every street we walked on, any street in a neighborhood, on the main street, like wherever we were, there was someone standing selling something. And it wasn't invasive the way it is in some places. You know, like some places we've seen, you're walking down the street and they're yelling, hey lady, right? It was not like that. Okay. I did not experience that anyway at all. I've heard it can be that way down by the really tourist heavy areas in Phuket along the beach. I've heard that it can be really aggressive. It was not like that in the area of Bangkok we were in at all, but it was available. Everywhere you went, there was somebody selling something. Like as you're walking down the street, there are vendors. Then you get to the open market, and then there's just stalls full of different things. And they also have themed ones. So like they have the flower market. They have an area where they resell things. Like you can go and buy, you know, like flea market basically. So there are markets everywhere and many different kinds. In addition to that, it is a city that loves a good mall. So there are big, full, vibrant malls, not like we're here in America where our malls are dying. There are malls that are full to the brim. And that was a very fun experience. We went to both a normal mall and then like a really famous mall. And those were two very different experiences in themselves. So just like the normal mall felt kind of like being in a really elaborate department store, and then like the best food court you've ever seen in your life. And then, so that was fun because we also got to see like how the prices are different and like how some products are really prevalent and available. And like we went into a little shop that was, I guess it was a bookstore, but the whole back of the bookstore was office supplies. And I absolutely lost my mind. I had no idea that I could come so unglued about office supplies. And so we went in and it was like Asian office supplies. And if you know what I mean by that, like surely I'm not the only person who's obsessed with like Temu office supplies, like the cutest little pens you've ever seen in your life, and like scented highlighters and like every kind of post-it note you could ever imagine.
Oh my
and
gosh,
like
I
a
would have
wall
bought
of post-it
everything.
notes. Yeah, like walls and walls of the cutest notebooks. And I was touching everything. My husband's like, what is happening? Like we stumbled into it and he did not realize what we were getting into. He had to like drag me out of there. I felt so bad, but I was obsessed. Yeah. And so anyway, like so that was like in a normal mall. Then we went to the big mall, the high-end mall. It's called Icon Siam. It's right on the river. There's a ferry that takes you for free directly there, because everybody wants you to go there. And there's a bay of lockers. You can show up and like put all your stuff in a locker and go and shop and have the best day. It's a real experience. Okay, let me tell you that, because 3 reasons. First of all, high-end stores. So you're going to go in and you're going to see Chanel, Christian Dior, Hermes. You're going to see Cartier. You're going to see all of the high-end and like stores you've only heard about but never seen in real life. Like that is going to be the mall. That is the shops that are in the mall. So not usually somewhere you're going to actually buy. You know, if you're on a normal human's budget and you're like, hey, I heard Thailand's a great place to save money, you're probably not going to buy a lot at the mall, but you're going to have the best time shopping. Then, or if you are the person who's always wanted to buy those things, this is the place to go because it's all in one building. It's amazing. But the other thing I loved about the mall was they have an entire area that's called the marketplace. And it's designed to be, it's an entire floor, and it's designed to replicate their culture of having open air markets. And it's set up in north, south, east, west, representing the different regions of Thailand. So you go into the marketplace area and it's beautifully done. It is like over the top vibrant, with big displays and hanging lantern lights. And every place that you're shopping is a stall. So, but imagine it being like perfect, like it's perfectly designed. So it's not like a messy marketplace where everything's, you know, kind of random. It's all perfectly designed. So it's very visually pleasing. And each area is filled with products and shops. Each vendor is selling something from that region of Thailand, something that's really well known in that region. So like woven fabrics, handmade garments, and little figurines and leather goods and all the things that are made in the different regions. And the food is the same way. So the food stalls are really unique and intricately designed. And so that was a really fun experience to walk through that. It wasn't as affordable, those products, as if you were in one of the random marketplaces in town, but it was really beautiful and interesting and exciting to experience. And then their food court was unlike anything I've ever seen in a mall before, because they were all sit-down restaurants. And the room itself was so beautiful, like to walk into that space where all the restaurants are around the outside edge of the room. It's like 2 or 3 stories with a towering tree and like vines hanging down and waterfalls. And then the restaurants themselves were absolutely beautifully designed and done, and places from all over the world to eat. So like an actual Italian restaurant, with like things that I would recognize from Italy that we don't normally see even in American Italian restaurants. Yeah, just beautiful too, just over the top. You could spend an entire day just in that mall, and have the best day of your life as a girl who loves shopping. So, you know, that's one example of one of the really high-end malls. And then there was a whole other island that you can take one of the ferries to along the river. I think they called it Asiatic was the name of the space. And it was basically a marketplace. When you first pull up on the boat to the pier, there's restaurants along the pier. So all the restaurants are overlooking the river. But then once you go behind the restaurants, there were shops and marketplace area back in there, and a huge Jurassic Park experience designed like Universal Studios that looked super epic. So I wasn't expecting that. I was like, I didn't even know this was here, but this is something I would recommend if somebody was like really into that kind of thing. It looked amazing. And they had a theme restaurant right next to it as part of that. So a Jurassic Park themed restaurant. But anyway, just like so many fun experiences. I could see a group of women going and having the best time for a girls trip in Thailand. Between the spa experiences, the incredible food, and then the shopping, it's a great place to go and have a wonderful adventure together, I think.
I know you mentioned like the pricing for like the spas were really inexpensive. Did you find like pretty much everything to be less expensive overall?
Definitely.
Across the board.
Across the board. Everything was more affordable than what we would see in America. Like even the things that we splurged on that felt very like, ooh, that was a lot of money, was something we would not have spent, like been able to do for anywhere near the price that we spent. Does that make sense? So like the Mexican restaurant we went to was the most expensive food we ate while we were there. And like I said, I think we spent, well, there were 4 of us and we spent like $200.
Yeah, which is
Michelin like star restaurant. And it was like super over the top. There's no way you could do that. If you're going to, a James Beard Award restaurant in America, you're walking in for $100. You're walking in for a person, and we spent, I think, $200 altogether. So that's amazing. So the other thing would be our beach resort. We spent, it was less than $3,000, but we took 8 people for 4 nights at the beach and included meals. And I mean, we just had the best time. And like I said, I feel like that would be like the 2 of us. We would, that would cost for 2 people, I think $3,000
at least. Yeah, maybe more. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it was so affordable. It was so affordable. The hardest part is the plane tickets, getting a good deal. My recommendation would be, if this is your dream, to put tickets from your favorite city to fly from to Bangkok on a watch, like on an app like Hopper, and just keep an eye on it and then snag them when it's a good price. Snag those flights and go. And if you had to go and it rained, for example, the whole time, like just plan for it. Plan to have the best time in the rain you've ever had in your life. Like that's what I would recommend. Like I just think that it could be a ton of fun. Take a cool rain jacket and an umbrella and just go and have an adventure. But mostly plan for heat. Any other time of the year, you're going to have heat. It's just warm all the time there. There's just no way around it. So plan for it. And I have lots of tips for that. I learned so much preparing for this trip. I'm going to write a whole article probably a series of articles about it, because I think the tips I learned for heat alone could be an article. It's going to change the way I travel in the tropics, honestly. And the other thing was, there are some very specific tips that really apply to Thailand that I would recommend. So I'm going to write an article about that too, how to have like the best time using some of the modern apps and things that are common there, so that you have a more fun and more freedom while you're there and save more money. Yeah.
How long would you recommend, like if somebody wanted to go? Because there is such an extensive travel time on the front and back end. You're losing at least a full day of travel.
I don't feel like I would have wanted to go for less than 5 days.
Yeah.
Like 5 days in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
I think going for 2 weeks was fabulous. I feel like when we hit about day 8 was when it started to feel like, oh, we've kind of been here a while. So it was a full week before I started to feel like we've been here a while. And all of that was in Bangkok. We didn't go anywhere else in that first 10 days. So I think you could do a full week just in Bangkok. I don't feel like I would have enjoyed a full week at the beach. I feel like 4 days is good. Unless you are the person, and Kimmy is more of the person than me who could do this. But if you're the girl who was like, all I want to do is be left alone on the beach with a book and have a drink handed to me once in a while. And that's my ideal vacation. If I could do that for a full week, I would be the happiest person ever. Like this is the place to go for that. Okay. I get bored. I want to be that girl, but I get bored. And so by day 4, I was like, this was awesome. Let's go back to the city. So, or at least to the next place. Like, I don't think I could have handled another couple of days at the beach. I would have been bored out of my mind.
Yeah. I like to lay on the beach, but I also like to do, like, I would love to go out on the boat. I would like to be in the water. The, like, food tours sound amazing, like, sprinkling those in, so, like, break it up. But
I did see the chef at the restaurant was giving a cooking class to a family while we were there. So I think those things are available there, too. And there was a really beautiful spa at the resort we were at, but we didn't go because we'd already gone 3 times to the spa in Bangkok. So that is definitely, if you were going to stay longer at the beach, those are the kinds of things I would recommend to enjoy there. It was only a little bit more expensive to do it there than it was where we went. And the difference is you're doing it at the resort, and that's really why it was, but still, like, when your starting point is $20,
yeah.
You got room, you got some wiggle room to enjoy some spa treatments, okay? In that budget. It's amazing. And I will say one disclaimer, because I have shared all the things I loved about it. One disclaimer that we should really acknowledge, and especially because we're talking usually to women here on our podcast, and that is there are some very certainly, as in any country, any big city, there are some dangerous areas. There are dangerous things you could get into. There is certainly less reputable places that you could stay, that you could go to get a massage. Like, there are things that could be very uncomfortable and possibly dangerous if you aren't aware and practicing some safety. Okay. But I don't think the fact that those things exist should keep you from enjoying Thailand. Plan well, stay in safe areas, make sure you've done your research or worked with a travel agent who can really help you find the best, most reputable places to keep you safe. You should be able to explore and have a fabulous time, very affordably and very safely enjoy the beauty that is Thailand.
I think that's a great way to end it. We're going to wrap up. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm so jealous. If you're not already following our social media, you need to go, everybody follow it, especially our TikTok and our Instagram, so you can kind of see some of the experiences that Heather had in Thailand. So we'll be posting a lot more of that coming up.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear from all of you if this is something that you'd be interested in us leading a group trip to. I have some amazing ideas about how awesome that could be to take an entire group of women to go experience Thailand together. I just think that would be ideal and so much fun. So we'd love to hear from you. If that's something that you'd be interested in, please let us know, because we can definitely put that together and make that happen either, in the next year or so. And also some off the beaten path stuff sprinkled in that most tourists wouldn't share with you. Could be such a good time.
Yeah, sounds amazing. Well, thank you so much. And I'm glad you're back. And thank you for joining me today. And I hope everybody has a wonderful week.
Thanks for joining us.